Tuning in. Welcome back to Tea and Tarot with your sis Moon Magic, where we get to vibe with our intuition and pull cards for the collective. We're going to go ahead and get started here in a few minutes. As usual, I like to wait a couple minutes, wait for people to come into the live and do some updates, check in with you if you're here on the live. And if you're not here on the live, let me know down below as you are watching this on the playback. What's your week been like? Let's check in with one another. Let's see what the vibes are. How are you doing? I'm also going to be taking out my decks. Go ahead and grab your tea, water, spicy drinks, whatever you got. And we're going to get started here in a little bit. And yeah, how have we been feeling? Happy Gemini full moon as well. I hope everyone had a great holiday, however you chose to spend it. For myself, for check-ins, I definitely was grateful that I got to spend some time with family during the holiday break. I haven't spent as much time with my family this past year. And, family can always be a little bit of a tricky area for me personally, but it was really nice to get to spend time with my family, and I actually really enjoyed our time together and was really grateful I got to be down there, especially because I'm not going down there for the next holiday and abstaining from the holiday, not for any particular reason more than just, financially this has been quite a year for me personally, and that's just where I've been at right now, but grateful to be back here for Tea and Tarot and to get to pull live and to shuffle and to see what the vibes are for the collective. That's what we're going to be looking at. As for other updates, that's just more on a personal tip. Been doing a lot of just part-time gigs and really hustling a lot, trying to just make it all work. Because like I said, it's been financially a really rough season for me. Yeah, I've definitely just been trying to put myself out there more in my different services, whether it's sound gigs and as I mentioned here before, but for those who don't know, I'm going back to school right now for music and audio engineering. So just, trying to really put my best foot forward in all the things, and staying positive even in a difficult time period. That's been my biggest thing that I've been working on, and just trying to continue each day to work towards, making changes in that reality, whether that's, job applications and for part-time jobs, and different gigs, and, just really trying to find something that works with the school schedule that I have, and, helps to make it all work, and, keep working on the craft. That's been a big other part. If I'm not job hunting for part-time gigs that allow me to still do my art and allow me to still go to school, I've been really just working on my craft and getting better at what I do. I see Lyrics Matters up in the building. Salute to you. Divine Flows is up in the building. Salutes. We're just checking in right now for Tea and Tarot. Grab your tea, water, spicy drinks, whatever you got. And we're just sitting here together, checking in with one another, seeing what the vibe's been like this week for everyone. 2 weeks, because the last time I did a Tea and Tarot was actually before the holiday. So we've had 2 weeks in between that time. What other updates I got going on? Coming to the end of my first semester. That's been exciting. I've been learning so much at school in terms of just music theory and things I've been learning in this audio engineering program, and just really grateful for all of that and getting to see the growth in those things, which is why I'm so committed to continuing to go to school, and trying to find work that works with my school schedule. What else has been happening these past couple weeks? Been really perfecting my schedule, trying to get it down, make sure that I'm really working on in the in-between on things. Let's see, anything else? Oh, and gearing up for the shows. December 14th, we have our Xmas wrap-up show, which is going to be the last show of the year. That's our holiday hip-hop bash with myself, Sully Bull, Grody Omega, and a few others. So come through if you're in Sacramento. It's always a fun way to kind of end the year, and we do a cipher at the end. It's a whole lot of fun. And then January 18th is my official album release for Moving Different, which I'm super excited about because I dropped the project in September. That was my second self-produced project, and haven't gotten the opportunity yet to do an official album release party. So this will be the official album release party. And it's with Madi Bush. Shout out, salute to the OG and the GOAT, Madi Bush, who also dropped his album Bush Can Cook on the same day, 916 day in September. So we're doing a joint album party celebration, as well as celebrating the 3-year anniversary of our artist collective, SAC 916. So again, if you're in Sacramento, come through. That's some of the events happening here in the city. And then of course we got Culture Circle, our monthly happening over at Whiskey Tangos, and on December 11th, I'm real excited for this. We got Jakari Smith and Beatnik Scum, who are our features. It's an open mic, open knocks, open cipher. Come out, come jam. It's, you know, all about building your craft, and you don't have to, you know, be the best artist or even have any experience performing, but just come and get to be in community and you know, try different things and be raw and imperfect, but, you know, having a good time and you know, learning and growing. All right, I think that's pretty much it for updates. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Those are the main things. Been just, like I said, working, school, and you know, staying positive. That's what it's about. I don't see anyone sharing any updates in the chat. But again, if you are watching this on the playback, please share some updates. Let me know how you're doing. I love getting to connect with you all way more than coming on here and just talking to myself. So let me know what's going on in your world. I really love getting to hear what's going on and just connecting with others. That's the big part of what Tea and Tarot is for me. Because again, I don't believe in any kind of hierarchy when it comes to tarot or anything like that. I mean, we're all just humans doing our best to you know, make the most of life as life be life, and you know, but it's awesome to get to connect with other people and hear what's kind of going on in their world, and you know, find strength in that, you know, of the things that we go through as individuals, but also collectively. And that's the stuff I love about tarot the most. If you are interested in getting an individual personal tarot reading from me, I do have quite a few different tier options on my Patreon. Some of the tiers are just for music, so that includes if you want to get, you know, come practice with me and see what my practice flow looks like with music, or get some exclusives of my music and what I call my moon diaries, which are really raw, just, you know, songs that are not released, that may never see the light of day, that are exclusively there on the Patreon. You get access to that. And then I have the other tiers that are more focused towards tarot, and those are ones where you can get a personalized message from me, whether it's a specific card and a paragraph about that card for your month, or a full session reading where I will send you a video link and dive into the energy for your month, or it could be a phone call or FaceTime, whatever works best for you. So I'm going to go ahead and put that information down here. You can find it at my website, www.moonmagicflows.com. and then just go to the Patreon tab. And then if you are, you know, feeling called to donate, I definitely always appreciate that. As a full-time artist, especially during these times, every little bit really, really goes a long way in helping me continue to, you know, do what I do. So to donate, my Cash App is Moon Magic Flows, and that's also my Venmo. But, you know, of course, I don't do this just, you know, for the donations. I do this because I genuinely enjoy it, and so that's if you feel called, and if not, just being here and vibing with me and spending time together is also enough. But definitely check out those goodies, because there's a lot of goodies on the Patreon and on my website as well that you could check out and browse post this live. And I'm tagging the information for my website and the Cash App and Venmo if you are interested in donating. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get started and start diving into the energies for this week. I see that Rob Sparks is in the building. Ecstatic Ghost, how's it going? Salute to you all. If you have not gotten your drinks, your tea, water, whatever it is that you are sipping on, go ahead and grab your drinks. And let's go ahead and dive into the energy for this week. I'm personally, as I mentioned earlier on my story, really, really interested to see what comes out, because I'm also part of the collective, you know. This energy is just as applicable to me as it is to any of us, you know. As always, disclaimer, you know, like I said, I don't believe in a hierarchy when it comes to tarot. I also don't believe that the tarot reader knows more than you about your life than you know about your life. I think that tarot is a really amazing self-reflection type of tool. And if you're expecting a guru who's going to tell you all the things that you need to know, this is not the place for that, because a lot of that to me is actually really spiritually like exploitive, and what people will say and do things to make you feel like they have more power over you and more understanding and all these things than they really do. And a lot of it to me is just smokes and mirrors. I like to just be up straight, front, direct, and honest, and you're gonna get it as it is. No fluff. You feel me? But also make sure you're using your discernment, because the whole point of these sessions are called intuitive vibe sessions, to vibe with your own intuition and make sure that you're connecting with how you feel, connecting with what feels right to you. Don't make a message resonate if it doesn't resonate, and always trust, you know, how you feel above all, you know. That's always the most important part. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to go ahead and start with a ground in. One hand over my heart, one hand over my stomach is how I like to ground in, but whatever feels comfortable for you all. If you want to join me in this ground in and just relaxing your body, closing your eyes, and breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just keep breathing like that on your own. We do these ground-ins to just kind of give ourselves an opportunity, no matter what kind of day that we may have had, to check in with ourselves, check in with our bodies. Notice what may be coming up. A lot of what I love about tarot is that it brings the subconscious to the forefront of our mind and gives us this beautiful time to kind of look at it, so that the real power isn't, you know, trying to wave a magic wand to make it change, but to be able to see it for what it is so that we can work with it. So just notice what may be coming up for you right now. You may focus on just being open. You may have something specific that's on your heart. And just asking the right guidance to come through to you now that makes perfect sense to you for where you are in your journey right now. And may it speak to you in a way that really helps to speak to where you are, give you that clarity that you need, or the confirmation. And may this time be a sacred time that's protected and a grounding in for you in your life that provides that nourishment. All right, one last deep breath in and release. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and jump in and see what are the vibes for the collective today, for this week, this time period. These messages are also meant to be timeless, so even if you're looking back at this at a totally different time period, just know that it's still applicable. Four of Pentacles reversed. Oh, okay, one more. And the Magician reversed. Okay. All right, so I like to do on these lives where an opportunity for us all to kind of connect with the cards, because connecting with the cards is a big part of the tarot readings for me personally, and part of this intuitive vibe session and what I like to offer that's a little bit different is giving us all the opportunity to kind of vibe with our own intuition before I dive into the cards. So these are the cards that came out. This is the main card here, the Two of Pentacles. Then we have the Magician reversed, and we have the Four of Pentacles reversed. Here's what it looks like upright. So if you're here in the live, go ahead and drop in the chat. Let me know what symbols, colors, any kind of messages you may think of, or what maybe the images may be stirring in you. Maybe you're really drawn to the waves in the background of the Two of Pentacles. Or maybe it's just the fact that these cards are upside down. Maybe make you feel like things feel a little upside down right now. And if you're watching this on the playback, feel free to drop a comment down below. I would love to hear what you all have to say on this. Another part of why I love doing this intuitive vibe session in this way is also because it's really awesome to hear what other people think when they connect to the tarot. I feel like our intuitions are so strong, and part of why I always stress the importance of there's not a hierarchy in tarot is because, you know, I think sometimes that relationship makes us dependent on someone else to be able to connect to that source that's really within us. And a big part of why I do the tarot readings this way is because I really want to stress the importance of us all having that connection. Some of us just might be a little more aware of it or had more experience with it, but we all have the ability to tap into our intuition and that source that is, you know, connected to all those greater things, right? And so a lot of times when people share what they see and what they notice, it also goes to really further help the reading for other people. They may also resonate with what you share in the comments. I see Rob Sparks said, I enjoy the bright colors of the cards. These cards, especially the Magician, that yellow. All right, I'm going to go ahead and dive in. So the Two of Pentacles is the main anchor card of the energy for today. It's all about wishy-washiness. It's all about things kind of being up and down. The Two of Pentacles, because you got these two pentacles, he's like, ooh, and you got the water in the background, the boat. And it's kind of that in-between energy, this feeling of we're not quite where we want to be. We're not quite sure what's happening. We're not quite something. It may also kind of symbolize sometimes the feeling of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Perhaps being in a situation where, you know, maybe things feel like they're getting progressively worse, or maybe you're in a situation where you're, you know, you're just like one bad accident away from things being progressively worse. Or it could just be simply like you're in a time period where you're waiting on something, waiting on a call, you know, been reaching out to maybe somebody, a friend you haven't heard back from, reaching out to, I was talking about jobs earlier, a job, waiting to hear back from employers, or, you know, just in general in this time period of where things can kind of feel wishy-washy or feel uncertain. There might be a lot of uncertainty and a lot of flexibility that is needed during this time period. Pentacles usually also tap into our finances and materials, but it also doesn't always have to be financially. It could just be the things that are tangible, right? So you could be in the middle of buying a house right now and waiting to hear back on, you know, the offer that you submitted, right? You could be in the middle of actually moving, right? And like in this in between, literally like the purgatory almost, not purgatory, but you know, you feel me, metaphorically, right? Of like, man, I can't start my, you know, feel comfortable in my home because my home's a mess. You know, I have a bunch of things in boxes and, you know, in between the two homes and all this kind of stuff. Or perhaps you're, you know, you have something similar to that where you feel like, again, you're just kind of waiting on the response of others, or the energies of the world just being a lot of uncertainty and instability is what this card typically resonates for me and shows with me, especially with these two cards. So these two cards are the supporting cards. As you know, notice they're both in reverse, which when cards are in reverse, they typically mean that it's a distortion of that energy. Now, tarot readers often read these cards very differently. It can mean an extra of that energy or a lack of that energy. For me, the Magician card reverse has always been a card that's really about not forcing your will, which I think is really interesting in this dynamic because we're talking about Two of Pentacles, this wishy-washy type of energy, indecisiveness in our life right now, and this feeling of uncertainty overall, or just, you know, not having as much control maybe in our life in general or in certain areas as we would like, and just kind of trying to get everything in the right place, right? But then you have the Four of Pentacles reverse, which the Four of Pentacles, if you see it upright, it's this man who's kind of like clenching onto his pentacles, and he's an older man, and it's really this kind of feeling of being financially, like, you know, feeling like you need to hold on to your resources, not feeling financially secure. But it also could just be in general, feeling guarded, feeling like, again, it goes back to this overall feeling of like waiting for the other shoe to drop, or just in general, like having to work through in yourself. You might find yourself working through these feelings of guardedness or jadedness. We got the holidays coming up, right? You know, different emotions that might be coming up for you, that you're working on releasing, or might find more present if you notice them happening and occurring in your life. And that's why I think it's really interesting that the Magician card reverse came out too, because while this can be a very unstable energy and a very wishy-washy energy, a very indecisive energy, and an energy showing up for the collective right now that's just in general representing and showing, I think, really a reflection of what's going on in the world, politically, economically. You know, there's so much we could dive into with just that right there alone. The Magician being reversed is really interesting because that card, for me, I always talk about the Magician because I got it tattooed on me, and I used to always have like a love-hate relationship with this card in reverse, because I'm a very driven person and very determined, and have a lot of Aries in my chart, you know. So when I want something or I see something, I'm like laser focused on it. And the Magician reverse has taught me so much in terms of you can want something or try to work towards something as much as possible, but there are certain things that are just simply out of our hands. And our will is very powerful, and this is not to say that we should not, you know, try and use our will in positive ways, especially when we're going through difficult times, or, you know, feelings like that. But there are certain things that we have to let go and realize that are not in our control, and have to that, you know, we're dependent on all the other things, right? Like, one way this might show up is you might find yourself in a relationship right now that feels like, do they love me? Do they not love me? This energy might show up like that wishy-washiness, like they're not really committed. They're not really communicating how they feel, right? Like, it's not making me feel very secure in this relationship or this situation. But then you're being, you know, being asked to not force, or this energy of not being able to force your will on it. But that's important, right? We can't force others, especially in a relationship, like a romantic sense, to want to love you or want to be with you, right? And that's one of the many ways that the Magician in reverse has, you know, blessed me with some difficult lessons in life. But that's kind of the energy that's showing up in this reading right now. And apply that to whatever area of your life it might show up or be, you know, be relevant, which again, it could be your romantic relationship, like the example I just gave, or maybe a job or career situation, or, you know, it could be something else, like I said, this house situation or a family situation. And in general, it also could be signifying of you letting go in really big ways. You might find yourself being in a time period where usually you do hold on to a lot, and usually you do try to like control everything or grasp everything. And you might find yourself in this time period of just kind of like, well, it is what it is. And you know, by the grace of God, we will get through this. That type of energy as well. Or you might be on the complete other side of the spectrum, depending on your relationship to this energy and where you are on your journey, where you might find yourself really struggling with that sense of, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I'm going to get through this. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. You know, this instability is really a lot, and I'm trying to control the situation, but I'm not able to control the situation no matter what I do. That is the overall energy that's showing up right now in the collective, if I were to just interpret these cards. And we're going to go ahead and dive into the advice, because I'm really curious to see what's going to come out for us, because this is a difficult energy to maneuver because of that Magician reverse, you know, and all the different levels of things that are kind of at play. I'm going to read some of the chats. I see Cheryl C. Soul says, this resonates with me, shedding, healing, and evolving. Love that. And Rob Sparks says, the job situation is what I'm going through right now. Me too, Rob. It's been a thing. I was talking about it earlier on the live. I'm not going to go back and rehash it, but shout out to Magical Mama Gabs up in the building, and MP Squeeze. Thanks for joining the live. So again, this could be applied in many different situations, but like I said, the overall energy right now is one that is not very stable, and one that can be like grasping onto straws, or, you know, feeling like you're kind of being asked to just let go and let God, or having a difficult time with that and finding yourself a little more guarded or jaded or on edge, or like I said, trying to control, or like, you know, you might find yourself kind of like snapping at things a little bit more, or just feeling like emotionally charged in a way that stems again from, you know, this feeling of things not being very stable, right? All right, let's go ahead and pull through the advice and see what comes up. All right. What advice wants to come through? Ooh. 10 of Pentacles. What? That's interesting. The 3 of Swords. Okay. All right, y'all. Go ahead and take a moment to vibe with these cards. I do want to pull another supporting cards, because this is interesting for advice for me when I see these cards. But let me know what you guys see when you look at these cards, what it makes you think of. I'm going to pull one more. Hold on. The World card reverse. Man, this is the story that is not done being told. That's for sure. We are just in the middle of the chapter. And I feel like that's part of the advice, is to recognize that your story is not done being told. You know, you're not, this heartache and this grief and these trials and this turmoil is not the end all of this story, like end all be all. You know, it's like, this is just part of a greater picture of your life, greater story of your life. And you're not defined by this one moment, and this one moment is not going to define your whole life. No matter how difficult or hard or trying it is, I immediately get that sense with the World card reverse. Rob Sparks says, Swords and Heart was always my favorite card. Your favorite card? What? Bruh, what? This is one of my least favorite cards. This is like the heartbreak stab. But I mean, I know you're a horror poet, so you know. I'm sure it's very inspiring. Maybe you can write something about it and share it with me. Shout out to Joey Retro up in the building. He said, hi girl, evolving. Yes. So immediately what I saw when I saw this was that the 10 of Pentacles represents legacy, long-term family, like that idea of providing for your family and being able to, you know, have that home and generational wealth and all those types of things. And with the 3 of Swords coming out next to it as advice, really, really was a heartbreak moment for me, because to me this is kind of signifying our need to redefine what it means, what this means, what 10 of Pentacles means for us. What does it mean to leave a legacy? What does it mean to provide for our families? What does it mean to have a family? And I see that in the sense of like the real reality of where we are in the world, right? Like, we live in a society where it's not economically the same as it was as our parents' generation, and definitely not our parents' generation, which causes a lot of us to have to redefine what this means for us. But it also could be redefining your sense of family in general, redefining your sense of what it is that's important to you, what you value. And I don't want to say it's lowering your expectations. I think what it is it's the heartbreak of recognizing that some of those expectations that have been put on us are not realities that you should place on yourself necessarily, and feel bad as a person because you can't achieve these things. You know, these things are actually very, you know, kind of put up on a pedestal and idolized, and they're the blueprint. But the reality is that especially right now economically and for my generation and younger is it's actually a lot less common than the, you know, traditional idea of everyone, you know, gets married at whatever, 30, 20, you know, you got your 2 kids and a dog and a white picket fence and, you know, American dream type of, you know, idea, right? And that doesn't mean that you can't want those things or some of those things. But when I see these cards together, I think it's really asking us to think about what those things are and our relationship to it, and what about those things do we really value and why do we value it, and confronting head on the grief and real heartache of really redefining what some of those things might be for ourselves in the current systems of what we are, right? And where we are, right, as a society, globally and politically, right? I'm never, like I said at the beginning of the reading, I'm not one to sugarcoat or fluff or just, you know, say you wish and good thought away, you know, good thought yourself into, you know, generational wealth, you know, like the realities of the world are very real. And I think this card is kind of playing to that. But at the same time, I feel like the advice is to remember that the story has not finished being told yet, right? And so it's kind of also at the same time, you know, advising us to not necessarily like close that chapter for good if those are certain things that are very important to you. And also, sidebar, shout out to my really messed up nails. I let my niece / little baby cousin, she did my nails during the holiday. She did a great job. She's in 2nd grade. Anyways, I just noticed how terrible they look right now. That's because they chipped. It's not her fault. She did a great job. Anyways, so when I see these cards, you know, this could be, you may have you know, it's giving like if you're expecting yourself to get a mansion, right? It's not to say that you shouldn't want yourself to have a mansion, you know, but at the same time, right, you know, everybody is not getting a mansion. That's just the reality of life, right? And like I said, I'm not a sugarcoater type of person, and I feel like guru type of energy. I don't like that type of stuff, and people who just come and say, oh, you could just, you know, think positive and you'll have a mansion. That's not life, real life. No, this is, you know, really real advice. Like, you know, that sometimes we have to question the concepts of what we think to be important when we're talking about our legacy, what we think to be important when we're talking about family, what we think is the family structure that we even want to subscribe to. And I think those are kind of things that, you know, you may have to redefine and may find some heartbreak and grief in redefinition of, but also remembering again, like the chapter is not, you know, it's not fully closed yet. You know, there's still more to come. And the world card upright is when we come full circle, we come back to it. And I think there's certain things here that you may be experiencing grief and heartache over, but at the same time, it's also saying that the situations that you're in right now haven't come full circle, right? So this is giving that energy of like, you may look back on this energy in this time period, like 20 years from now, and be in this place, right? Where you have, you know, this generational wealth, or having your legacy to look back on, or being able to provide for your family and have a family or start a family if that's something that you feel like you're not able to do right now, right? But you can't see that right now, right? Right now you're experiencing this heartache or this grief over, or this feeling of this may not ever be possible for me, right? So I feel like this card is also reminding us that things have not come full circle. And when the world card is reversed, it's always a reminder to me that things will eventually come full circle. So for some of us, it may be a redefinition, of redefining our ideas of family, legacy, et cetera, right? But for others, it may just be about, you know, recognizing where you are in the story of your life, and that this is a difficult chapter, but you haven't reached the end yet, and that this 10 of Pentacles is still very much alive, very much real. It is upright. It's still very much possible for, you know, all the things that, you know, when you think of your legacy and family and what that means to you and the things that you want to provide as being truly possible, but you're just not at that state of completion quite yet. And, you know, like I said, this could be one of those moments you look back on and think, wow, we've come full circle, you know, we really, really were able to turn things around. But right now, we're experiencing maybe this heartache and grief and having to, you know, really hold on to the things that are important to us when we're talking about the Ten of Pentacles, right? Redefine other things and recognize that some of the things just aren't there yet, but that doesn't mean that they're not coming yet, you know, coming at the end. So hopefully that makes sense. I see Joey said, I got to go to wrestling practice. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Joey. You have a great night. Blessings. Rob says, reminds me of when I painted my nails for Halloween. Yes. I know. I don't usually paint my nails because they chip so much, you know, unless you get the UV, like, what is it? Cured UV. You know what I'm talking about, right? Someone probably knows. The gel, UV gel. Yeah, that stuff. I see Sister Stone Music is up in the building. Thank you for joining. Miguel Nahat, thank you for joining. And Rob says, hopefully this job I'm going for will provide me for that in the future. Yes, I feel like the advice overall would be to, you know, to remember that this moment right now will not be, you know, next year or the year after or 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And these things are still yet to come. But just having to really, you know, navigate through the turmoil and grief and the losses that are real and presenting ourselves in this moment. And the better that we navigate that, whether that be with more grace and ease and love for ourselves and others, and continuing to hold like that vision, like I said, if there are things that you know you truly want and truly, you know, see for yourself. I'm not saying to give up on those things, but I just think there has to be a certain balance of understanding and also, you know, grace with yourself. You know, it's sometimes we live in a world that we see all these glamorous influencers and, you know, all the things and perfect lives and mansions and, you know, the dog, the cat, and the 2 kids and the, you know, living the dream, private jets, you know, and if that's your standard for yourself, that can be very, not that you should limit yourself or want less, but it can be something that, you know, can cause a lot of hurt and turmoil, you know, because that's a very high ideal for yourself, right? And again, this is just giving it to you straight and with love and clarity. But again, that doesn't mean you have to throw it to the waste bin and give up on those dreams. But again, it's an invitation to redefine what values are truly important to you. If we were doing like a little journaling session, this is where I would pause and ask everyone to pull out their journals, you know, and we'd be like, write down what the 10 of Pentacles represents for you, right? So it could be, you know, wanting to get married. And it could be, you know, wanting to be able to support a family, to have a child, right? Maybe you want 4 children. I don't know. Maybe just want 1 kid. It could be, you know, wanting to be able to be a homeowner, right? Things like that, right? And I think making a kind of list of that and kind of like self-evaluating those things and really figuring out which one of those, what of those things are truly important to you and why you value those, why they are important to you, I think could be a really good exercise for this energy here, and grounding into what it is that you know, are truly working towards as well, if this resonates for you. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull some advice from the Oracle cards and see what comes through. I appreciate everyone who's been tuning in. Again, if you want to get a personal reading from me, definitely tap into my Patreon. You can find that at www.moonmagicflows.com. And if this reading has been resonating and you've been enjoying the energy and want to donate, my Cash App is Moon Magic Flows, and that's also my Venmo, and is much appreciated. Every little bit goes to help support your girl. And keep this going. Tea and Tarot on Thursdays. We get to vibe and connect with one another. And I'm going to keep pulling and see what else comes out. All right, come on. cards are like, ain't got nothing to say, I guess. Sheesh. The Pillar came out for the Threads of Fate deck, which is always a card that asks us to rise to the occasion and asks us to be stronger than maybe we've been in the past. Very much gives that, again, that World card reverse. Like, you may be in a moment right now where you're being asked to be the pillar for that 10 of Pentacles when you're at ground zero, so to speak, right? And having to build it up from the ground up and hold that strength like a pillar for the legacy and the, type of providing for the way you want to be provided for, way you want to be able to provide for others, and so on. Ooh, I guess we'll go with all these, sure. Whole lot of cards just came out. Alrighty, take a little sip. Alright, we're going to start with Angel of the Pillar, since the Pillar was the first card that came out, and I was already talking about it. And I think this is a really grounding card that really connects to the overall energy of this entire reading. Alright, it says, the Pillar signifies a need to rise to the occasion. It indicates a time where we need to be all the things. The backbone, the nurturer, the provider, the lover. The Pillar asks you to step into these roles as best as you can, knowing that you are being pushed outside of your comfort zone. You will learn just how capable you are. It is a time where we take our gifts to new heights and learn that our perceived flaws are just that, perceived. If you've been resisting a new opportunity or role that has presented itself, it is time to step into it and trust that you will learn as you go. This is also a time where our container grows. We learn just how much space we can hold for ourselves and others. Continue to listen to yourself, fill your own cup so that you can be there for others, but do not forget to push yourself. The balanced Pillar energy is being able to wear many hats, to hold space for family and community, but doing these things with empowered boundaries. It is placing your personal well-being and needs first, knowing that your service will be better because of it. The unbalanced Pillar can go a couple of ways. In an attempt to maintain all control, one can get domineering and manipulative. On the other hand, they may find themselves becoming codependent, where their identity gets wrapped up in the need to caretake for others while forgetting about themselves. Yeah, and that energy of the unbalanced Pillar is given very much that Magician reverse. So if you do feel like that unbalanced Pillar energy resonates for you, these are some questions that you may ask yourself, and after this live might be helpful to journal around if you're feeling called to. It says, where can I soften? Where can I put up boundaries? What are my personal needs, and how can I go about meeting them for myself? And I think that goes very hand in hand with the 10 of Pentacles journal prompts that I also said, if you're interested, inviting you to journal around that too. Because again, it's what are my actual needs, and I think that's also really important when we're talking about being more gentle with ourselves, especially during this time period. What are your actual needs? Making sure you have a roof over your head, making sure you have, food in your body, and, those types of things. And outside of that, all the other stuff is extra, right? And as much as it would be really amazing, to have certain things, remembering that what our actual needs are versus our wants, can also be very powerful. All right, let's go ahead and look at the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck. There's quite a few cards that came out, so I'm going to start with the Angel of Relaxation. It says, let go of desired outcomes, and you will get what you want. That's funny. That's very much in alignment with all the things that we were talking about. Let's go ahead and read this card. I actually don't think I've ever read this card before, so I'm interested to see the message. It says, everything will fall into place and become clear when it is meant to. So switch off and take it easy for a while. The Angel of Relaxation has appeared in your reading to help you relax. By keeping your focus fixed on all that it is you wish to happen, you are in a way preventing the natural flow of events to unfold. Surrender any project or concerns to the angels in knowing that all is being taken care of. And I also want to mention that if, you don't believe in angels or anything like that, I always mention that, it doesn't have to be an angel or, definitely is flexible to whatever aligns with your belief system. Just take the overall message of the cards and don't I don't want a word to trip up your ability to receive the message. And I know sometimes certain words can have triggers or just, not resonate that specific word. But this is just an overall, the energy of. Surrender any project or concerns in knowing that all is being taken care of. Focus on all you have achieved to this date and on all your many blessings. Take time to nurture and pamper yourself and start to do more of the things which nourish your soul instead of worrying about the future. By relaxing and letting go of desired outcomes, you create the space for the angels and the universe to give you what you want. Trust. Love that. All right, we have the Angel of Manifestation as our next card here. Let's see what this says. Hold on. Got all the angel cards. Okay. Your efforts, determination, and perseverance have paid off. Something you have yearned for, dreamt of, or worked towards is about to manifest. Yet this is not the time for wild elation. Keep your focus and balance and do not lose sight of your original purpose. Quietly give thanks to your angels and the universe for this blessing and continue quietly with your work. Again, this is all very confirming of that energy that I was saying of the World card reverse, of this may be a difficult chapter, but this is not the end of your story. So whatever you may be experiencing or feeling right now, knowing that the effort and the energy and showing up time and time again and being that pillar for yourself, for your community, for, whatever spaces that you find yourself in, and continuing to show up and continuing to put in that work and to continue to also have grace for yourself and be kind to yourself, is going to pay off. I feel like this card is just kind of confirming that it doesn't go in vain and that it does matter, and that better things are on their way. We have the Angel of Abundance, and it says a steady flow of abundance is about to manifest. Okay, not only did we get the Angel of Manifestation, but we also got the Angel of Abundance talking about manifesting abundance. So I receive, yes please, let's go. It says the Angel of Abundance has shown up in your reading today to bestow a special blessing upon you. Accept this blessing of light and allow it to flow through your heart and mind. Allow it to both illuminate and inspire you. A steady flow of abundance is about to manifest in your life because of your willingness in the recent months to give and receive in equal measure. True abundance manifests when we love and value ourselves as much as we love and value those that are dear to us. Keep an open heart and mind and continue to give and receive freely. Accept all the abundance the universe is offering you with clear knowledge that you deserve it. Okay, man, these cards coming in with all the good messages. Receive, I receive, I receive. Yes, please. All right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and leave you off with one more message. It says, I focus on what is working. And I love this as our final message for the day and advice for this current energy in the collective that can feel a little bit difficult and, or maybe a lot of bit difficult. And I want to thank you all again so much for vibing with me and being here on the live. And again, if you want to check out the Patreon, it's down below, moonmagicflows.com, and you can book a personal reading with me or join the Patreon and be able to get a personal reading from me every single month. All right, we got I focus on what is working. Number 14, if that number means anything to you. It says emotions and thoughts are powerful. They can pull us in every direction if we're not aware of their strength. When we pay attention, we affirm our ability to more consciously direct them. In any moment, we can choose to make a positive shift and uplift our perspective. Focus on what is working in your life. Stop fixating on the imperfections. As soon as you notice your thoughts spiraling you down, call it out and shift gears. Keep adjusting your mind to choose a better way. Align your emotions with thoughts that make you feel lighter and happier. Use your imagination if need be. Turn this into one of your most dedicated daily practices, and soon you'll experience incredible triumph, resilience, and well-being. Go for progress, not perfection. Total harmony in the body is greatly dependent on balance in the mind. Think healthy thoughts. And I love that as the ending message of today's Tea and Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank your guides, my guides, and the divine for this space today. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next week. Bye.